Hi guys, here I am. Today another design talk. And the topic that we will treat today, it's gonna be quite interesting because there's somebody from you that sent me a comment on a previous video asking apparently a very simple question. And the question was, can you explain to us the difference between design students and real designers? So at the beginning, to be honest, I said, "Well, what the heck? What type of question is this one?" And then I tried to figure out what he really meant by that question. And in my opinion, after thinking about a little bit about it, I believe that what this guy is looking for is he would like to understand whether there are lots of differences between life in school as a car design student, about the activities, the pressure, I believe, all those experiences that you go through when you are in school, and that I did too, and how it is the real life of a car designer, so an ex-student that starts a real job, and how all those activities are deployed, are developed, are lived, are perceived, on their skin. So at the end, I have to admit the question is very, very interesting. And it's the first time that somebody really asks me such a question that straight. So thinking about it, what I can tell you is that when we are students, and most of you probably are, you know that there is a lots of pressure. I remember that when I went to school in Art Center, College of Design in Pasadena, the first very day, our teacher, which was at that time Harry Bradley, an excellent teacher, Harry Bradley, an excellent designer also from, I guess, Ford. But anyway, I don't remember right. Anyway, the first thing he told us was, remember, today you are 25 in this classroom, but probably only one or two of you will get a real job in car design at the end of your school period. So when he said that, I said, what the heck? What is he trying to say? I was kind of depressed. I said, if this is the future prevision, what the hell do I do here? So the pressure that the school applies on every student, which is good one, it's very high. And as we know, it's very high because school interest is to push you guys and girls to become really high talented, very talented. And to do so, a good way that it's a good method is to make sure that there is a good level of performance, but most of all of competition between students. And the teachers are the ones that usually start that competition with little words, little comments, with their behavior. And then the students that are very young and they are very eager to become the designer that will get that job available, of course, they will all start automatically to be competitive and to compete and feel the competition between students. And that's very good. I lived that, and I can tell you that probably in my country, in Italy, in some schools, that's what is missing. And that's very bad. Because in Europe, like in Italy, most of the schools do not believe in this competition thing, say that it's not good for the people, for the students, they are young, we just have to encourage them to study. Okay. In my opinion, after the experience I made, I can tell you that in that school and in the school where I taught, okay, when I was teacher, there was a very high competition. And it is true, sometimes it's very stressful, but that's okay because real life, we will see later, has a lot of that too. So I can say that in school, those aspects are very similar to real life. And after I will go into a little bit into detailing real life car design or how it is. But staying for a while still on the school, students then they learn, okay, how to improve their skills, all right? So we said, I write down just those keywords because then I will get them back when we will talk about the real life as the professional design. So the first thing we said competition, okay? And competition we know that is done for higher quality, okay? For quality, okay. Then now we were talking about the skills. In schools, you learn how to improve your skills. For many of us, like it was for me, we learn lots of technique. We have a great teacher that will teach us how to use our hands, our pencil, the pressure, the line quality, the colors, the shading, perspective, scenarios, the composition on page, all that stuff, okay? So skills improvement. And skills improvement, it's done because with that we can communicate. And that's communication, okay? Design or designer, communication, okay. Then in school there's another thing we learn. We learn how to make projects. And if we are lucky, we are in the right school, we'll have sponsor project, which means we have a real people from a car design company that comes with some money to sponsor the school and sponsor the projects in that class or in another class. And those students have to make a real project. I mean, not a real project, but a model, concept proposal, okay? With many times it's a scale model done in clay, painted. And today, of course, since many years now, we use also virtual modeling. We can make film, and in the film we can show a story. So all this is design process. So design process, we learn how to do design process. And design process is to deliver a real project. In the school, it's the project for that presentation. The real job is the car will go into production. So it's for the project. Okay. So already those three elements, those three keywords, okay, or facts, already very important. They tell you almost 80% of the school activity. That is, of course, spread in 3 years of school or 4 years of school. There's a lot of stuff in there, you know. Those that go to school, those that are at the first year don't know yet. But those that are at the last year of school, they know, you know, and they can have lots of recent souvenir or memories about all the old nights done working without sleeping or stuff like that. When we were in school, we used to have special permission to work at night in school because there was not enough time to do all the exam, the models, because it's not just one model. In every semester, after the first year, models start multiplying and the projects ongoing are several, and therefore you want to be the best, or you want to try to be the best because you want to improve and you want to have a knockout portfolio at the end. Therefore you have to offer good quality in every project. You cannot say that project, I don't care, I would make a bad model, but I will do only a very good model on the other one. You cannot do that because your portfolio, your final portfolio might need the help of that project that you probably did not care, for which you did not care too much. So you cannot do that. You have to work at school very well, at your best on all the projects. Okay, so now what is left? At the end, in school, we do a portfolio. Okay, a portfolio is to sell ourselves, our know-how to get a job. Okay, so let's write down portfolio. And it is to get a job. Okay, so I don't know if you can see, here are our topics, the facts, the activities, the main activities. And here are for what? Okay, so the quality, communication, the project, the job. And when we are in school, then we have another thing that I will add here, which is the life. And the same thing is also for the real job as a car designer. So life, because when we are in school, especially those transportation design schools full of foreign students, and most of them, almost everybody, is coming from other countries, other towns and stuff. Therefore, everybody is outside their homes, outside their family, far from their families. So the life that you start, it's different than being at home with your dad, with your mother, your brothers, sisters, your family on the weekends, stuff like that. It's different. It's different because you are on your own. You learn what it means to live with somebody, or maybe you have the luck to live with yourself by yourself. And therefore, you learn what it means to start paying your rent. You start thinking of transportation. How do I get to school? And if I have to go to make a short trip, how do I do? If you don't have a car, probably you have a motorcycle or a Twizy. If you don't have a Twizy, then you will start thinking about the sharing, I don't know, all those, or public transportation. But you have to think of a mini budget that will be dedicated to transportation. And if you have a car, you have the insurance. And then you have the gasoline to buy, So you start having a life that is not exactly the adult life of a person that is working on your own in a town and is 30 years old, but you are starting to get all the notions of what it means to live by yourself. And if you are not stupid enough, and if you are enough responsible, you can learn how to manage that, so that when this will happen to you in the real life, which means after school, you will be kind of prepared to live by yourself, to be independent, to know that if you have to cook at home something, you will be able to do it. And you know that the moment you feel like you want to go and eat outside, you know that checking your budget, you can do it. You will do it probably with your friends or even by yourself. Okay? So, life at school, it's a lot in school, but there is also life outside the school. And when you have this life as car design students, you have to imagine that your engagement in being in school from an hour to another, from morning to afternoon, or only during certain hours of the day, it's a little bit like for a real car designer that knows that at 9 o'clock he has to get in the design studio, and 5 o'clock or at 6 o'clock in the afternoon he can go out, and there is opportunity that he can stay longer. But basically starting from 5:30 or 6 o'clock, according to when he started, he can go out and his private life starts. So, once again, competition, skills improvement, design process, portfolio for the job, life. Now, we talked a little bit about what you know already, because we talked about the designer, the car designer, student, life and objectives. Now, let's imagine that we got the job and few months went by already And we are in this design studio of a company that we will call X, okay? Not to make any names, all right? But we all have a Twizy. No, I'm joking. To go to work. I'm joking. And anyway, so we go and we have our daily life, okay, daily life, that we start waking up in the morning, we go to work, we know that between 9:15, in some cases 9:30, you can get at your job, and then we know that in the afternoon you can go out around 6:30. There are people that stay until 7:30, okay, but we will see later how this happens, okay, because it changes according to companies, all right? And then you go home, and I don't know, you take a shower, you think about dinner, and the weekend you have free time. And for those that on Saturday don't work, when I was in China, everybody worked on Saturday, and sometimes we worked on Saturday and Sundays. So it depends also with the countries and the culture of that country, and the job conditions in terms of contracts of the specific country or company. But anyway, in general, if we go back to those to this list, okay, let's take one by one and let's talk about real car designer life. So the first word is competition. All right. So competition. I'll make a nice check with my green. All right. So competition. Competition. It's very high also among designers, real designers. And it's simple. When you become a real designer, you are living within a design studio, you are within a team, design team. You have your manager, you have your manager, you have your director. On top of the director, you have another big director, the most important one. You have HR, the personal department, that watches a little bit from far everybody's to make sure that everybody's spreading the rules and stuff. And then you have also your colleagues. And when you are working, you have interest of being very competitive for two main reasons. The first one is professional. It's about your creativity, your support to the team, and to show that you are the right designer in that team, that you have all the rights with your quality and with what you give to that team to be in that design studio. Therefore, they did really well to hire you. And this to increase your trust, their trust in you, your relationship, Also, outside the design team, with engineers, I don't know, marketing people, whatever. All the people that are around the projects on which you're working. So your competition interest is to show that your creativity and your design proposals are very good. And they are really, challenging the others. Because you don't have to forget that when you will start participating to what we call concours design, which means there is a project and there are, 5, 6, 7 designers or 3 designers that will participate to the project, then we will choose one, of course. Then between 3 or 6, there will be only one that will be probably working on that car. The other one go back to sketch for another project. And of course, the ambition of everybody is to go and get picked, okay, get selected for that project, because everybody is hungry of projects, real projects, full-scale models and stuff like that. We all know. So the competition is for that, but the competition is also for another reason. You know that when you are in a company, there is an evaluation that is done every year. And we are judged. Me too. I am still today. I have in December, a nice face-to-face with my boss, who is a super nice person. And we talk about how was the year, how I performed with my projects, if I did everything right, if I had an incident or something bad, and then we have what we do about it. Everything comes back. Everything you did within 1 year comes back, and you get a sort of notes on certain type of activities of your daily life, of your daily professional life. And if you meet the requirements, you get a prize. Okay? So, a sort of a small award. Sometimes it's money. Sometimes it's a small promotion. Sometimes it's just, I'm sorry, for this year, nothing, because your performance was so-so. So, what I would like to explain here, according to this competition thing, is it's our interest to be competitive as a car designers, because the professional aspect connected to creativity, which means the projects, but also how our performance is during the whole year on the several activities we will be involved with, to make sure that when we have this meeting at the end of the year, we can deserve, a special eye, a special attention from the company or from your boss, to give us a prize, something that will push us to be even more competitive, and being very happy because in December, or I don't know, a few months later, our income will be increased a little bit, or we had a bonus, okay, an economical bonus, which with which we can have a vacation, we can buy a beautiful present to our parents that spend money for our school, I don't know. You can do whatever you want with that. But anyway, this is but competition. Okay, I'm not going very large and wide because we're gonna speak until tomorrow. We're gonna talk about this until tomorrow. But I would say that the two main things to be a little bit selfish are those two aspects. Okay, so the first thing we want to say is that yes, competition, it's very alive when you are a car design student and when you are a real car designer. Okay, so competition, yes. Now let's talk about the second one. Take my green felt tip pen, and this is skills. Okay, skills to improve, so that we can improve our communication. And as we said before, when you are a student, the teacher always tell you, please get better with your line quality. Your perspective is not good. Check your perspective. So that at the end, when you do your final presentation, your work is beautiful and everything is fine. Your communication, it's very nice. And your colleagues, your teachers, they see your sketches, they understand. Well, guess what? At work is the same thing. Now you might say, yeah, but wait a moment. If you hire all talented designers, why should they have problems with the perspective or with the sketch? No, I agree. We don't have this. But we have other problems. We might have other problems. For example, designers that sketch too small. And in that studio, we like bigger sketches. Designers that don't pay attention to sections. And in that studio, we love to see sections on the sketches because we want to understand how he's thinking and how that model could really look before we go into virtual modeling. This is part of communication. So also professional designers that are young have a lot to do in terms of improvement and in terms of skills improvement to communicate better. Also because those young ones are sometimes in competition with older, more experienced designers, that they already know all this. Okay, so it's in their interest to improve their quality. Sometimes it's just that we like I don't know, when I arrived in Renault design, they were using lots of markers, and in Fiat we were using more the technique from Art Center, because we were several designers from Art Center, so we were using mainly chalk, a little bit of gray marker, but the color chalk to make those beautiful perspective, renderings, like this one up there. You see the red car? Yeah, this one. That one is that technique. So when I arrived in Renault 21 years ago, I realized that I was the only one that was looking for chalks, and I couldn't even find them. Everybody had a lot of markers. So I said, Luciano, you have to work with markers a little bit more. And believe me, I start sketching with marker with the same colors that Renault designers, they are excellent designers with those markers. When I saw this, I said, how can I learn to do that? And then I started learning. And so I started using those markers at the beginning. Even if I was into management, it was also a way for me to show them that I wanted to be integrated in that new design team, the new design family. And therefore, I tried to do my best effort in the few sketches I made using those markers. And this was appreciated. So, communication in a real car designer life is extremely important, because it's also, I would say, 30% value of your presentation, of the overall presentation. It's given the success or the failure. It's given also by your oral and graphic skills communication. So we can say that about the skills, here also we are very similar for slightly different situations, but still, when you will be working in real life, you will understand that what you have accomplished until school time is just the beginning of the real thing. Okay? That's why I stress so much everybody to learn how to use their skills the best they can. Because it would be very bad to find yourself in learning skills at work. Besides, it would be very difficult to find a job. Okay. Now we talk about design process. Wait, let me sign it. Okay, let me check it. Design process. Design process. Sometimes when I talk about design management in my Design Talks video, I talk about design projects and design process. And when he said that in school you learn very quickly how to realize a small-scale model, you learn how you start from sketches until model, all the activities, the timing, that in school are a little bit freestyle, okay, let's say that. But at work, they are not freestyle, because those are really very schematic, and those are engagements, like contracts. Contracts between company teams, engineering, design, marketing, product planning, supplier, control, logistics. It's a lot of people that engage themselves, directors with signature on documents. So, very important. Design process in real car designer life, it's very important. It all starts from planning. The planning where we know how much time for a brainstorming, how much time to choose the 2, 3, 4 ideas and develop them for a while before we pick up 2, before we exercise again, and then we choose only 1. And then this one is declinated with different, designs or alternatives in 2 models or 3 full scale models. But before we do the scale models, we have to do the alias virtual model. And those alias virtual model will be technically, how can I say, analyzed by the architecture department in engineering department to tell us whether they are macro feasible, or not, and how much would be the cost estimation of each design. And then we have to apply all the modifications, and after the modifications on alias, we can start and mill our clay model. We have the timing to work on the clay model, and after we make the first presentation, we know that we will have other modifications to make, and then we work again our clay model. Then the rest of the company starts participating because the design is more or less under control. And then we have the battles between this door is too big, the glass is too expensive, and then we have timing to take care of that. And after that, we decide what type of modifications or optimization we have to make. We go and change again the alias model. Then this until we get to the final model. Then when you get to the final model and the final decision is taken, the design process, 70%, 80% of design process is finished. Now, this in China is 1 year. In Europe is a little bit more, let's say a year and a half. But once you finish that, then you have only design management, as I explained many times, that will follow that model that is given to the company, given to the engineering department, suppliers, purchasing department and everything else. And therefore we get into the final part, which is the pre-industrialization. So this design process, of course, in the real designer's life, it's very complicated than the school one. But if you think about the steps that you have to make, are they really different? Are they so different? The only big difference is the timing. Because in school, to make a clay model in scale, in quarter scale, for a sponsor project, at my time, we did this in between 4 or 5 months. A full project. And in real life, it takes a year and a lot of people. In school, you are on your own. It's only you. And the only part of that design process is the creativity. You don't have engineering. You don't have packaging. You don't have marketing people telling you what to do. You don't have many critiques. You have your teacher, okay, that helps you, to guide you, to give you feedbacks. Maybe also your schoolmates give you feedback so that you think, but you have a short time to apply those modifications, and after it's time to run, to paint, because the timing for paint, sanding, all that stuff, it takes a given time that you cannot compress. In the real time, we have more time, but many more activities. And lots of more people involved. I would say 50 people probably. And everyone is from different departments with different interests. And of course, the only one that in front of all those people is design, because some others are complementary. Design is difficult to be complementary, especially at the beginning, because we have tendency, and that's very normal, to say, this is the design you have to do. And everybody will tell you no. And then you have to defend it. Until, everybody start understanding that that's design, and we all have to work on that one, and then we have to make it sure that it's gonna be okay, so that everybody together makes that design work. And when I say work, means engineering, cost, marketing, not just design, everything. So it's a teamwork at a certain level that takes certain type of responsibilities, that is supervising all the people working, and it's guiding the project to the right port, let's say, okay? So this is design process. So as you can see, in school, it's a shrink down experience. In the real job, it's a real experience. But in school, you already have a sort of understanding why planning is very important and how that planning can help you to arrive at the right date with your projects finished. And for us, it's the same thing. Our planning are very long and sometimes are modified, but are more complicated to read. And but at the same thing, the objective is the same. When I start a project, the first thing I ask to engineering said, please give me your master plan. I must see your master planning, because in your master planning from day one until production, I have to understand where I had to put all my design activities and make sure that we are at the right time and nobody will shrink that time, because when you do that, that means less creativity, less quality. And that's what we don't want to do, and we try to protect design managers. So, master planning or planning project means for us design process. Now let's talk about portfolio. All right, so number 4, portfolio. We said that school portfolio is extremely important because you get a job with a portfolio. It's true. Without a portfolio, no job. And if your portfolio is medium in terms of quality, you risk not to get a job. So your portfolio must be a good one. And if you have an excellent one, you have 85-90% of chances to get a job with no problems. Good portfolio, I would say between 50 to 70. Mediocre, medium type of quality, less than 50, and not in a big company, maybe a smaller company. And if it's like 30%, I think that nobody will hire you. But there is a chance that you can get hired, but to do things that are a little bit car design related, but not really the first role as a designer. Maybe you will work on Alias to do virtual modeling. Why not? It's a nice job. Maybe you will be hired to make models on clay, because they recognize that your clay models are very good quality and they like the way you work clay. They need somebody to work clay. Of course, there will be different roles, different contracts, but that's okay. I think that when you understand that your portfolio is not a certain level and you risk not to get a job at all after the money invested in a school, I think that it's much better to be a clay modeler or a virtual modeler, design modeler, than nothing. Some others decide to be freelancers. They open their own company. They start by themselves. It's normal. At the beginning, nobody has the money. Only a few cases. But then in the case, it's the family that keeps on helping, which is okay. But if you don't have that money, you start by yourself and you look for clients for some activities until little by little the word is spread and people start calling you. And then you become an official freelancer with your tariff. You know what to ask in terms of money. You made your calculation as a businessman to understand how you have to earn, how much you have to earn, so that you can pay your studio if you are renting, okay? And some money is left for you to eat, okay? Now, what it is a portfolio in the real car designer world? When you are already a car designer. In some cases, let's say, first of all, portfolio is what you have done in a company until a certain day. The day, for example, that they ask you, they propose to you to go and work in a satellite center in a foreign country, like expatriation. It's not that people or the design management or I don't know who their place will call only one person. No, what do? They make meetings to talk about this problem to solve. They need one person from this design studio that has to take luggage and his professionality or her professionality and go maybe in the other part of the world, like for example, I went to China, all right, or to India sometimes, and they say, okay, so we need one person. Which one are your four best choices? So there are 4 names, and each one of these games, which are professional designers in that studio, will have a portfolio, because that's how they will decide which one really deserves to go over there and get, of course, a very nice contract, making more money, and most of all, an important new experience, an international experience. So the people that deserve that, it's not just because they are a good person, very well educated, that they live really well within the family of the designers and design studio, is very appreciated. Not just for that, because this person, this designer, has the portfolio. And this portfolio is the projects he has worked on in that design studio since the beginning he was hired. So the portfolio, also in this case, it's important for a job situation, which is not to find a job because you don't have a job. You already have a job, but is to get an upgraded job that will probably boost your career as a designer too. Maybe this is an opportunity that in 10 years will be important to get you, or in 5 years to get you an important promotion. I don't know, you will become design director because you have an international experience, or an important design manager that can travel, in a global company to go and follow projects abroad. Why not? Would be very interesting, very nice. That's a little bit what I do. Now with COVID, I am stuck at home, but I traveled a lot. Polonia, Romania, India, Russia, China, Spain, beautiful memories, and lots of interesting new contacts, and most of all, experience. You learn also the culture of the people, how people behave when in a meeting you treat a technical problem, okay? You see how different people behave differently on the same subject, and then you learn about the people culture, local people culture, and how to talk to them so that they can still help you and can still work for you, and you can still obtain your target, accomplish your task, your mission, your target. All right. So portfolio, job, and now the last one, which is very, very interesting, is life. And we said life, it's life. Yeah, because life as a student, as we said before, you have most of the time is in school or dedicated to your projects. You are full immersion on that, and you have little time, very little for your private life, okay? But you learn already how to be independent. When you are a real car designer, it's almost the same thing, but with different type of ratio. For example, you will not be full immersion on the job anymore, because any company, for law, to respect the law and the contracts, you can be in a company, 8 hours a day. In France is 7:45. I don't even remember. Some company tell you cannot do overtime unless you have a permission with a signature, and then you can do overtime, because overtime is paid, and it's paid more per hour or per 15 minutes, I don't know. So when I was in Fiat, I did lots of overtime. Saturdays, 1 hour almost every day, because we had a lot of work. We were a few designers, but this was also very good, because at the beginning I did not have many friends in Torino, I didn't know the town, I was on the job, and I was making a little bit more money. Then I start teaching, And then I start teaching, I start meeting new people. Then my real private life start developing in Torino. And then automatically I start giving the right weight to the real job, okay, that of course has to be perfect, protected, and how can I say, respected, okay. But then there was also the private life. So what happens that here we have a difference between school and the real designer's life. The real designer's life, if you want, you can take days off, you go for a vacation. When you are in school, when I was in art center, I did not have vacation. I went to school 3 years in a row without taking vacation. The first vacation I took was 1 year after my first year at Fiat Design Center. Because of the law, you have first to mature the days to go to vacation. You cannot take them, anticipate, before you mature them when you are at your first year. Because at the beginning you have zero, you have nothing. So every month will give you a day, I don't know how it works, but so every month, when you arrive in August, you have your 20 days or your 15 days of vacation plus Saturday and Sundays. So it's like a month. But in school, you don't. If you're absent, you're out, you're off. So you're always under pressure. At work, no, because it's a real job. Real job, it's of course disciplined by government rules and state rules and association rules, like the metallurgic mechanic contract. It's called in France, also in Italy, and I believe in other country also. Therefore, there is all the, it's like a small constitution for the job. There are all the articles. You should learn that. I have it. I read it twice, and then you learn all the rules. What you have to do. What it's your rights. Your what you must do. What you must respect. What is against the law. All that stuff. So, but basically, you are more free. You have more time. You have vacation, and most of all, you are paid. And this makes a big difference, because when you are a school student, you have the money coming in from your family, or maybe you are working part-time, but I find it hard to work on part-time for car design students, to be honest. But anyway, you spend money. You are very careful, I hope, the way you spend the money, very wise, but it's not your money. When you work in something that you love, you learn, and they pay you. And that's the nice part. The nice part, they pay you. So you have money, and then you start thinking, but now what do I do with this money? How do I manage that money? So you have a bank account, then after a couple of months, you have 1,000 euro you can put away, that you can save. Then what savings? Then you go to the bank, you ask information, I don't know, whatever you want to do. But what I'm trying to give you is the idea that in real life, your brain will be also on other things, what our parents are or were when we were kids. That's how they were. They were worried about the rent, or if you bought an apartment, you had to pay probably a bank loan. If you have to eat at home, you have to go and buy grocery. If you need to transport, you must buy a car. Maybe you buy the car of the company in which you work, so you get a 20% off, and you have a brand new car. That's always the best solution, okay? Until probably you will grow in the company with your career, and they will give you a car, which is even better, okay? But the real life, for most cases, most things, it's better than a student life. And then for others, no, because of course, when we were students, how can I say, we felt like the untouchables. Nobody could do something bad to us, to our health, to our body. because we were young, strong, and we were working hard for our future, and most of all because our family were behind us. They were giving us the money. They would call us and say, don't worry, keep on working. You know, your dad, your mother is behind you, will support you. When you're on your own, it's different. Because you are in first person responsible for everything. And even if you have the family that might help you, it's okay. But I think that you are the first one that doesn't want that to happen anymore. Because you say, hey, what the hell? Now I'm independent, I have a job, I earn money, I have a nice job, but I have to learn how to manage my life. And that's what you have to do. And that's what you will do. And it's nice. But there is one thing that you did not have, is that you don't feel any more untouchables. That's, I have to say the truth. Because you are growing. And you are growing as a man, as a woman, and you are part of a real society. In the streets, in the cinema, in theater, I don't know, wherever you are, and you realize, growing up, that the responsibilities are different than when you were a student. That's, I would say, the biggest difference. So, I hope I answered to that question, design students versus real designers' life, okay? So, I hope that you are happy with what I talked. If you don't agree, it's fine, just write comments. I will write to you back. And I'm very curious to see what you have to say about this. Or if you want to share an experience of yours, I mean, I would be happy. Write down in the comments, okay? Or if you want to suggest me another topic, write that too. As you can see, sometimes I listen to your suggestions, even if I have more or less an idea of what I want to do with my videos. But some of your topics are really interesting. So I take advantage of suggestions to treat those topics during my videos. Thank you very much. Share this video, Messenger, WhatsApp, TikTok, I don't know, Facebook, Pinterest. If you have a Pinterest, put the link on Pinterest, okay? Whatever. Thank you very much. Ciao, and see you on my next video.